glad you're excited. Hello, my dear ones. How are we all doing today? Another day on the planet. Another day on the rock. Oh, there's so many people struggling with their health out there. It's unbelievable. All I can say to some of your cases that are really fighting, just stay the straight and narrow and dig in. You remember these 4 phases: acute, subacute, chronic, and degenerative. You're going to be walking backwards through them. So you are going to pick up symptoms through this. And some of them are painful and not fun, and some of them are not. And I don't expect the medical community to understand those whatsoever. But it is well documented throughout the history of natural healing and fasting of these type of healing crises, you know, and going back to the old haunts and things. I've seen that in my own world. But I think ultimately, by and large, you guys are kicking butt. That's pretty good. And you young guys and gals all eating the fruit and stuff. Problem is getting good fruit. We need good food. Getting some of these farmers out of this idea of yield and then the idea of quality. I've got better strawberries than you. Oh yeah? Let's see. That we need a competition. It's creation, right? We need a competition. Which farmer can produce the best tasting, the most nutritious foods on the planet? If we got into something like that, can you imagine a war on the highest quality of foods you could produce? Holy, we'd be all walking around nirvanically and all these fruits and stuff. Wow stuff. Couple things. They wanted me to mention that our naturopathic school, it's coming, but it's going to be a couple of years before we get that thing nailed down, at least a year and a half. It's a lot of work. They were putting together the modules and things like this, and it's going to be a good school, though. Guarantee you it'll be a good school, and you won't. I don't believe in passing and failing. I don't believe in that. I believe if you have a desire to learn and you want to know something, we'll be what we teach, we'll be glad to help you learn it. We don't fail anybody. We make you retake a test maybe so you can learn what you're doing, but we don't want anybody. It's not that sort of thinking. That's antiquated kind of thinking. Everybody wants to learn and grow. Let me see. Oh, August 29th. Okay. Christine. I got a beautiful letter here, but they don't have any way to get a hold of them. They don't have any phone or anything. So, I guess we're faced with Q&A today. I have good news for those that came to the class. You got the last iris analysis, went out yesterday. Holy moly. You guys worked my tail off. Where's all my pens? You know, I get them out and then they sneak away. People come in to use my office and then all my pens kind of sneak away. They got legs on them. Thank God I got a reserve amount right here. Put a lock on that drawer. All right, Penny. Let's see, Penny, what's going on here. Animal versus plant protein. What's the difference? Huge difference. Penny. Article attached. I like Penny. Hi, beautiful souls who are helping to heal the world. Well, Penny, you're part of that. So, hi, beautiful soul, to yourself. I have a rather urgent question. What is this? I have a niece that is only a month old. Uh-oh. Oh, I hate to read this one. Hello, Marcy. Hi, sweetheart. I just started.
Is there any way we can pause it?
Yeah.
I have a case I wanted to talk to you about.
Oh, sure.
Real quick.
Oh, yeah.
I'll go grab it.
Okay, go grab the case. And then we'll talk about it. There's so many tough cases here. Now, she has a niece at 1 month old who has recently been diagnosed with creatine acetylcarnitine translocase deficiency. Holy crap. I've been trying to find out as much information as I could on the internet. But you got to be careful about these diagnoses and stuff like that. Because there's not a damn thing these guys can do about anything they diagnose. There's nothing they can do about it. If you feel that there's a deficiency, you want to look behind that and look at which gland would be instrumental in using these amino acids and using these things. When they come up with stuff like this, I back away from them because that's a little out there. She is currently being formula fed. Yeah. Are there any natural ways to treat this? Any information will be greatly appreciated. Thank you, Penny. Just hit the red button. The red button on there. We got a genetic cases. Holy moly. I apologize about that. I would be careful with the carnitine, acetylcarnitine deficiency thing. I'd be real careful with that. I wouldn't even think of that, Penny. I want you to think about digestion, absorption, utilization, and elimination. You want to get away from medical thinking. They're so lost they don't even know what the problems are. So if you follow those, you'll go into craziness because then someone's going to have to come up with something that means, and then all this kind of crap. And the thing is that never wins the day. You ever notice that? All this crap that they come up with, like genes and all that, none of it is a solution to your problems. None of it answers the questions that you have. None of it makes you healthy. None of it's treatable. I mean, it's just, some of it might be treatable with pharmaceuticals, but the lies are so huge and allopathic. It was just, Marcy was telling me another one where she had a case where they only had 3 lymph nodes swollen here. They told her they were going to remove a couple of these lymph nodes, or it was a man maybe. When he woke up or she woke up from surgery, they had removed 53 of them. Well, this person didn't make it. You remove the lymph nodes, you're removing septic tanks to the house. What happens if I take your septic tank away from your house and you keep using and flushing the toilet? The picture isn't pretty. And that's what these jokers did to this guy. These are now they're so blatantly doing criminal things. When you remove someone's lymph nodes, you are sentencing that person to death. Because we know what we're doing. We know what causes everything. We know how to fix everything. But what we can't do is go behind a surgeon who removed 53 lymph nodes and magically replace them. They can probably rebuild, but do you have time to rebuild while the lymph system is backing up, acidifying the cells and tissues and breaking them down? I mean, it's gotten crazy out there. These guys have gone over the top and through the woods, way past Grandma's house. It's amazing to me. So go in. If you have a problem, this is a 1-month-old, and that's very dangerous. Matter of fact, though, I will say this. On these newborns, there's going to be all levels of problems coming, and there's nothing they're going to be able to do about it. They can have all kinds of wild diagnoses all they want, but there's not a damn thing they can do about it because they don't know the first thing about health. And until you understand the vertebrae, what vertebrate man is a frugivore, you understand the need of nutrition, the type of nutrition man needs, and how to regenerate and what causes all these problems, the two sides of chemistry. You have to understand the lymphatic system like you all do. If you don't understand the lymphatic system, the connection of the skin and the kidneys, you're sitting out there not understanding the cause of anything. And that's why they use autoimmune and things like this, because they don't understand the cause of these things. I'll say this, don't get trapped in genes with the young babies. They'll regenerate. Genetics is consciousness. They'll regenerate these weaknesses. But you have to get them aligned to the proper foods, the proper energy, the proper consciousness their body is designed to. This is essential more on this planet than it has ever been. Man can't keep eating the same diet. He can't keep living in that ignorance, but he could. but it's not going to. It's not going to happen. God is always expanding itself and growing. So it can terminate those that won't grow and replace. Oh, yeah, absolutely. So I wouldn't get trapped into this, to be honest with you. I don't even pay any attention to these sort of things. I go right after the kidneys. That's your creatinines. I'm going right after the kidneys. I'm going after the adrenal glands that deal with all the metabolisms and all of this. I'm going after the rest of the endocrine. I'm making this body healthy head to toe. When that occurs, all these little symptoms that they claim are always all gone. Always all gone. So don't get hung up in some of these radical diagnoses from medical doctors who are just thumbing through the book back in the back room while you're waiting on them, trying to figure out what that symptom might be. When if they understood the simplicity, stuck back from intellectualism and looked at the simplicity of everything, they would have the answers right there and how to fix them. Because if you get too intellectual, you lose the realm of any sensibility or any ability to fix yourself. Prevents the body from using certain fats for energy. Oh, here we go. Particularly during periods without food fasting. Well, I don't know what you're saying. The move from glycogen. Let's see. Signs and symptoms of the disorder usually begin soon after birth and may include breathing problems, seizures. No. Has nothing to do with that. You know, I tell you what. Let's look at what they're saying here. This is what gets me. This is what they're blaming this on creatine, what is it, acetylcarnitine, translocase deficiency. Really? Yeah, right. All right, so let's take a look at this. All right, so especially let's see, that prevents the body from using certain fats for energy. Well, to be honest with you, your body doesn't really use lipids for energy. It's going to convert it back into a glucose, like glycogen into a glucose. So they're starting off here with some things hinting that the body's burning fats for energy. The lipids are actually used for the lymphatic system as antacids. And and cushioning, and there's so many other reasons. The fat would never be used as an energy marker. It would be broken down. It would be broken down into a sugar. So you get ATP, ADP, and AMP. Adenosine tri, mono, and diphosphates. Now, it starts usually after birth and may include breathing problems. Breathing problems is a neurological event. And in today's world where the adrenal glands are way down, the myelin sheaths are chronic, you're getting this, can't take a deep breath, can't get breath out. No, this is all asthmatic and everything else. But let's add another little thing here to this little scenario here. Breathing problems, seizures, and other irregular heartbeat and arrhythmias. Do you know where most of this starts? Not really from carnitine, acetylcarnitine. No, comes from vaccines, neurotoxicity. You know, these kids are already highly adrenal compromised. So they're already having shallow breathing problems. There's so many crib deaths. You know, there's literally stopped breathing. The blood pressures are insanely low. And that's your trip up. One mother, I was asked to have her babies checked for blood pressure, said, I never thought of that. I said, but you got to when you're thinking about neurotransmitters. Because when you're talking about breathing problems, that's a neurological event. And knowing what the children are involved in today genetically, we have serious autonomic nerve weaknesses, serious adrenal problems, serious cerebellum and mastoid and ear problems. We have serious problems all through the humans. Seizures, this is neurotoxic events. And an irregular heartbeat. See, they like to mask all these symptoms into one. Let me tell you, they're all part of something much bigger. See, same thing with any type of carnitine or L-carnitine, anything in the brain, anything that deals with acetyl L-carnitine, anything that deals with any of these things. Remember, what you're seeing is an effect of what? Causative eating. Listen, our body's a food processor predominantly. It requires a certain type of food to process adequately. You process acid ash forming foods. That's acid forming foods, and we were just talking about that earlier. About complex foods, complex amino acids, but complex carbon. Starches are also mucus forming and very acid forming. Grains, because any complex chemistry is irritative to the mucosa. Body is not designed for complexity. Believe it or not, it's designed for simplicity. And particularly the Homo sapien, because there's not much simpler food than fruits and berries. Their structures are simple, their amino acid structures are simple, just perfect for the human being. Although a gorilla can get pretty big and pretty powerful just eating fruit. Explain that one to me. Yeah. Or a horse, a wild stallion on the prairie, just eating grass. How do you get so powerful and big? No human would want to mess with one of them, really, unless you're a horse whisperer. These are symptoms not of this. These are symptoms of a far bigger, deeper problem in people. That's their problem. They try to come up with some little bull crap like this and link all kinds of symptoms that have nothing to do, has a much greater causative factors. And low levels of ketones, which are produced during the breakdown of fats. Low level of ketones, breakdown of fats and use for energy. Because they're claiming then that the carnitine, but they got this written different wrong. They're claiming then carnitine and acetylcarnitine deal with the breakdown of lipids into sugars. That's what you're trying to say, or you're trying to say burning lipids for sugar. No, you don't burn lipids for energy. So they didn't write this properly. Affected individuals say we have low blood sugar. Oh, now we got low blood sugar, right? We're dealing in the carnitines, people, so we're dealing in brain and kidneys. So now we've got here we've got what do we got here? We got breathing problems and seizures. So we got the autonomic nervous system involved, right? But what's the link here to the blood sugar? Which glands are we talking about being weak in children? Every child born, probably. The adrenal glands. If there's a child born with healthy adrenal glands, I'd say that's the day to play the lotto for the big money. Because you just about have the same chance. Matter of fact, you probably have a far, far greater chance to win the Powerball than you do having a healthy adrenal kid coming on this planet right now. And that is the controller of all things metabolism. All your minerals, your sugars, the adrenal glands. And what else do they control? The kidneys. So there's, matter of fact, there's an article I want to read to you. She was showing, it's in the latest Science News, where they talk about altered states of consciousness. It's how the bones communicate with the brain and all the other cells. They used to think bones were dead. Oh, really? Living cells? You know, so it's pretty cool stuff, man. There's some science out there that are just really cool stuff. Not the old constipated science that medical doctors believe in that doesn't seem to be bought and paid for science. I'm talking about real science exploration. Cool stuff out there. So we're looking at low blood sugar. That's adrenal glands. So look at this. We're looking at the adrenal kidney matrix again. That's all we're looking at. They just don't get that. All right? And a low level keto, that I get that. Together, these signs are called hypokinetic hypoglycemia. People with CACT deficiency also usually have excess ammonia in the blood, hyperammonia. Well, you know what though? Ammonia is what? NH3, and so you got nitrogen and you got 3 atoms of hydrogen. But I can tell you that if I do too much sugar, like complex sugar, I get into this fungal goody thing, I can smell ammonia, and that's carbon. So it's interesting, you know, when you say ammonia from protein use, because ammonia is supposed to be from excess proteins. But I can tell you, if you do excess starch, you also smell the ammonia from it. Because I'm not a protein eater whatsoever. I don't do high proteins at all. I don't do nuts. I don't do any of that. So I can tell it's from the carbon. So I don't know, you know, there's a lot of things. This deficiency also usually have excess ammonia, I get that. And a weakened heart muscle, cardiomyopathy. No. These are all genetic weaknesses of tissues here. Many infants with CACT deficiency do not survive the newborn period. You know why? They probably stop breathing. And I was having a conversation with Marcy about similar stuff, about the adrenals being so low neurologically, you know, that kids are just stopped breathing. And far be it to put a baby under surgery. with propofol. That's a good way to lose your baby nowadays because they already have. Imagine putting this baby or this child or whoever under some type of surgery. I doubt if you'll get her back. And I bet if you checked her blood pressure, it'd be extremely low for a newborn. Some affected individuals have less severe form of condition and do not develop signs and symptoms until early childhood. These individuals are at risk for liver failure, nervous system damage, coma, and sudden death. Not from carnitine. No, this is from something much bigger. This is from adrenal failure. This is all from acidosis and all that implies. And that gives you all of these symptoms. Not just from one deficiency like this. No way in heck. But anyway, that's my opinion on it. Head off from the door of health, and I wouldn't even put this stuff in my consciousness. You're going right into the body. You're going to fix all the areas that deal with deficiencies, which is the adrenal glands. And notice you're at the kidney and adrenal door anyway with this. So I would go after that myself. Let me see here, dear Dr. Morse. I know you have been talking about the protein myth until the cows come home. But I would love to hear you discuss amino acids and why this article below is inaccurate. It is very difficult to try and educate people on the whole protein issue, as so many people are still believing that animal protein is a superior source and the only way we are getting all our amino acids. I know, this whole thing of complete amino acids, I've lived with that sort of bull crap for how long? And I just have to say simply, you don't see that in nature. So if you don't see it in all the other species, why is that claim made for humans? And this claim is made from people that don't understand health. Matter of fact, if you look at all these claims about health, who's making these claims? And what do they know about health? Can they regenerate tissue? And can they? No. So much of this claims are just from idiocy. Just grabbing at straws because they don't have any answers. So, some of that is that way. I always thank so much for sharing your answers. Oh, thanks, man. Oh, Jelena. Thanks, sweetheart. Thank you. Animal versus plant protein, what's the difference? I haven't read this. About 20% of the human body is made up of protein. Because your body doesn't store protein, it's important to get enough from your diet. This is an old. This is how these articles have always started out since I've been practicing 45 years now. 45 years I've been sitting behind a desk trying to help people. And I've heard this crap for so long, it's unbelievable. Amino acids, once a person is structured up, the amino acid need is so small it's not even funny. Most amino acids are basically used as carriers, things like that in the body. You'll find that your protein, but there's all levels of what they call proteins or different types of amino acids. They have all levels from albumin. There's just everything's considered. Anything that's a nitrogen dominant factor is more considered on the protein or amino acid side. But, it's a classic thing. Where you take a look at a wild stallion, as I've just said, and they have no complete protein consumption. Their protein consumption is none. They have no protein consumption. Neither does elephants, and neither does so many animals. Their protein consumption is zero, and yet they could rip you apart. What? That's the thing. But then, if you have to go no further than digestion, to be honest with you, you go no further than digestion, and that, except for the complete amino acid, and all I can say is I adamantly disagree with that. It's all bull crap. There's no such thing as complete amino acids. It's not in the consciousness of any animal. It's not. There's no primate who has this almost identical body as the Homo sapien. There's no primate that says, I got to have my complete amino acid. I'm going to eat that monkey over there because I'm a carnivore monkey. And then I'm going to have to add some fruit with that one. And I better have some vegetables to make sure I get complete amino acids, Or I have to have certain beans, to make sure I get my... That doesn't exist in nature, guys. What exists in nature is vertebrates eating the food is designed for that vertebrae. When you start making claims like this, you're making claims outside of nature that hold no water. This claim has no basis in truth when you look out in creation. You can intellectualize. These are intellectual statements that man has come up with because he doesn't know how to get healthy. And so when he eats high protein diets, he gets sick anyway. So this idea of complete proteins, look at the digestion of protein in the first place. All right, where does protein digestion start? Starts in the stomach, right? No protein, no digestion of protein starts in your mouth whatsoever. You eat a bunch of nuts before you go to bed at night, they'll still be in your teeth in the morning. There's no digestion of protein in your mouth. The mouth starts an alkaline digestive experience, which is your sugars, your carbohydrates. So when you get to the stomach, you've got hydrochloric acid. Now ours is, even though hydrochloric acid seems to have a very similar pH, we don't break down bone real easy, although dogs break down bone pretty easy with their hydrochloric acids. But you have hydrochloric acid releasing pepsin. Now, so what you have, think about this. Remember the three little pigs? So first of all, you have a stick house. Huff and puff, that's easy to blow down. And then you have you had a straw house, and then you had a stick house. But the last house was a house made of brick. You're not going to huff and puff and blow a brick house down like you can a stick house. You've got to get a wrecking ball. And that's what a complex structure of amino acids is. A complex structure of amino acids is referred to loosely as a protein. So when you look at the digestion of a protein, it has to go in and break apart the protein structures into what they call poly and peptides, your peptide and polypeptide chains, then gets down to the amino acid chains. And they have to break all this apart to the amino acid stage before you can use it one little bit. So what you've done now, if you combine it with anything, you've neutralized your mouth digestive enzymes because acid and base together neutralize each other, right? It's not acid neutralizes acid, right? So chemotherapy doesn't neutralize cancer because cancer is an acid condition of the body, and so it just exacerbates it. It doesn't cure it. It burns it and fries it and shrinks it. Oh, we shrunk it for you. Well, you fried them. That's why you need to go to jail for that. You fried your patient. You call that curing? There's no cure to it. It's going to explode on them. See, that's the problem. So when you take a look at amino acids, your body can only use simple chemistry. That's it. Simple chemistry. Amino acids, sugars, things like that. Simple sugars. So everything has to be broken down. That's why there's digestion. That's the first stage of being well is digestion. What's the second? Absorption. You got to absorb it. How many people have lymphatic problems and have malabsorption? Just about everybody. So there's so much. You've got to fix digestion, absorption, utilization, which is predominantly, remember we talked about that in the other video, an adrenal gland experience, over 25 mineralocorticosteroids, zinc, selenium, iron. If you have iron, you have low iron in your body, you have iron deficiency. Here, eat more iron-rich foods. How about fixing the adrenal glands which metabolize iron? See what I'm saying? Sometimes we're so pseudo in our thinking. We're so almost too light in our thinking. We're either too complex or not serious enough. So this is always called secondhand protein. Meat has always been considered secondhand protein because we eat the meat that the cow ate the grass to get the meat. When we eat the grass, we get strong like the cow. When we eat secondhand protein, we get acidified and weak. Nothing healthy about dead tissue. Nothing. To me, it's dying cells and stagnant blood, which is putrefactive all the way and nasty, and it makes you stink nasty. So these are wannabe meat eaters that put out articles like this. This article, I don't know how often it circulates. I haven't seen it in a while, but this is stuff I grew up with, and it's just all bull crap. So you don't want to fall in that we need to eat animals to be healthy. That is about as stupid as you get. You would particularly want to see that in bigger animals. What about the big horses and elephants? How come an elephant doesn't have to have complete amino acids? How come the Homo sapien is the only one on the planet that has to have complete amino acids? You know how stupid that is? But these are people that they get caught in that pseudo little line of thinking. Ridiculous. Same thing. I see this all the time. You can get protein from many food sources, including plants and animals. You can get complex amino acid structures, but it has to be broken down into simple amino acids. That's all there is to it. See, this is the old thing, same kind of stuff. And you have to realize that it's false. Your body we don't require complete amino acids. It's impossible. We're frugivores. We don't require certain proteins in our body like other animals. We're all species. Each species is different, and the requirement of each species is different. The needs are different. The profiles are different. The physiology is different. You know, it's that simple. But we get caught up intellectually because people don't know simplicity. They don't know that their diet is the big problem that they have. So you got blood type diets and you got crap like this, complete amino acid chains and stuff like this. No one gets healthy eating animal proteins. I'm sorry, but that's a fact. Homo sapien is not an animal, a meat-eating species. Period. Neither any of the primates really are. You know, you've got those chimpanzees that from that hurricane that broke loose from the experimental center. Those guys are eating meat. They were hurt bad, and those guys are ripping other monkeys apart. Very unnatural to see that. How come an elephant can be so powerful without complete amino acid structure chains? How about it, like I said, a wild stallion, a cow? You know, it's just that sort of idiocy here that exists around meat eating. And I think people want to eat dead animals. They want an excuse to eat dead animals. They want an excuse because everybody's tried to have complete amino acids, and you can't get healthy eating complete amino acids, beans and all that kind of stuff. Even, say, a vegetarian that wanted the complete amino acids. So now you're eating cheeses, you're eating beans, you're eating all this stuff just because you intellectually think you need all the amino acids. And that's bullcrap. Look at all you guys that have been just on fruit, and look at what you've cured. And look at the power that's coming back in your body now. Where's your amino acids? What happened? Where's your muscles? You know, when we're detoxifying, yeah, you're going to lose inferior muscles. And I've always said that if you a bodybuilder and you build muscles on these high protein type diets, they're inferior muscles. They don't have the power and the strength that raw muscles have. And so it's just a defeat. Plus you acidify the body, and then pretty soon here comes RA or here comes all that. All of that is bullcrap. And you don't want to fall into that sort of thinking because it leads into a high acid forming diet. And there's no way man or most creatures on this planet to deal with it. Look at the omnivores. None of the omnivores that I know, maybe the hyenas, but I don't know a lot about them. The omnivores I know of, including the bears, have low protein diets, not high protein diets. Factual. I've watched so much Discovery Channel, and I've talked to park rangers when I lived in the parks. I've done all kinds of, I talk to people, trainers of primate. I talk to all these people. I want to know right what's going on so I can talk to you guys about it. And so this kind of crap, you know, I don't know what else to say about it. I probably could go on and on and on and on and on about it. It's just ridiculous thinking, like the blood type diet. We are a species, and we are designed to eat a certain food. Take a look. I don't care if you're Italian, you're German, or whatever. We're all eating the wrong food. And we got caught up in this. The problem with it is that everybody across that gamut is sick. And I mean majorly sick. I don't care if you're from Germany, you're from Russia, or where you're from, and we can take anybody from any place, put them on an islander diet, and repair and rebuild them and clean them up. I've done that for people that live way out in Russia, way out in Siberia. I've cleaned them up. So all I can say is that this stuff holds no water. That's old antiquated thinking that needs to be trashed. But I was just talking about how these things like this come around and circulate, like urine therapy, and come around, circulate, go away because they don't work. Now it's ridiculous. Go away. Then they come back. Someone brings them back again. It's like, oh, here we go. Same kind of stuff. Lisette? Transitioning children. That'd be a good one. Dr. Morse, you are fabulous. Thank you for being a leader in this movement. Oh, thanks. Yeah, sometimes I get a little, because I've had so many years of listening to stuff like this complete amino acid crap. and yet it is the most stupidest thing there is out there. It's just stupid stuff. We are a species designed to eat certain foods, and that food, we want the very best of that food, no question about it. Let's say that man totally was able to become a frugivore, all right? Impossible that I see right now, but let's say you could. Man would still be getting sick on the fruit that we have because we have sick fruit. Absolutely certain that the fruit and veggie diet is our species specific. Absolutely is. Absolutely. Well, look at the proof of it. Look at what we can do. Look at what we can. I got to get this up. He's having trouble with his wife's passing, but in this halfway place, this home that we working on regeneration, I just got to get this video up to show you this Lou Gehrig's case and what we did with her just in a short period of time, just to show you no complete amino acids, no supplement of acetos or any of the carnitines, none of that crap, and this person couldn't talk, couldn't sing, limbs twisted, talking, singing, and minorly walking. That's not bad for 5 months. Come on. Now, had we put her on a complete amino acid diet, a complete protein diet and all that, she'd be probably dead by now. Oh, yeah. Yeah, these people don't know what they're saying when they bring up this stuff like, the paleo thinkers and stuff like that. That's actually hurting people, not helping them. There is absolutely no nutritional need to eat dead animals. There's only your emotional needs. There's a lot of people that have to have meat, but not for the health of it, because they feel they have to, and they don't feel good when they don't. But those of you that realize dead animal tissue is putrefactive and nasty, you feel good because you don't eat it. See, there's a lot of that going on out there too. But you're right on here, dear. Absolutely uncertain how to get my children on this diet. Despite watching so many of your videos, I don't feel I have the knowledge of specific techniques to transition them. Well, I just kind of think that with children, these are souls that are just totally open of learning, and whatever you tell them, these are, realize when you're talking to your children, you're not talking to a child. You got to understand that. Your child is not a child. There's a big soul behind that little body that's pretty awake. So you're talking to that soul. So when you're talking to your children, realize who you're really talking to and address the soul of that body. Don't address the child. Address the soul of that body. Go beyond the outer little emotional mind, the perceived size, and go into who's the consciousness that's taking on my body here, my child's body. Talk to that entity. But I just be truthful with them and get into things like monkeys and things like this, that the Homo sapien is designed similar, that we have to eat like the monkeys, to be healthy and strong like monkeys. No other animal can swing through the trees like that. No silverback, nobody's like a silverback gorilla can just about rip anything apart. And look at how gentle. There's humans that can get up close to them because you can't always stare at them, but still, these guys they can rip you apart without a thing. But what makes a human so weak? Complete amino acid diets. That's what makes humans weak. Complete protein diets. Way out of line. She says, our home has 3 different diets going on. I, Mama, eat only raw fruits and veggies. Yeah, Mama. The father, I bet, eats typical, I knew it, father, poor thing. Listen, I've been straddled with that kind of relationship for years myself, in relationships where the other just can't get with the raw, it's sad stuff. So you're up against a husband that's and drinks alcohol frequently, the flat out refuses to change his diet. You just have a good life insurance policy on him. That's all I say. Just have a good life insurance policy. I'm saying, honey, you can eat that way, but I need a life insurance policy on you because I need to be protected when you croak yourself. My boys eat 100% organic, yet still full of flesh, raw milk. Oh no, yeah, no. You got to get your boys away from that, and that's going to be hard because you got a man, boys, man. So now you got a man there that eats bad. So the kids are looking between the two. Mom, I just be honest with the children. Despite what your husband said, I just be honest with them. Tell them, milk clogs you full of mucus and congestion. You don't want to do milk. You don't want raw milk. After age 1 even. No, not in today's world. These babies can't tolerate. Their lymph systems are already so compromised, it's not even funny. And of course, what are you getting? Tumors and stuff like that. So your children are horrible diets. This is horrible. Only the mother's eating well here. But the ladies like to take care of themselves better. It'd be nice to see more female presidents and things like that. Get more females that are the warrior type. The 4-year-old refuses fresh food. Isn't that sad? 4 years old. I'd be giving my 4-year-old. Now, you're going to eat what I tell you to eat. He fights good and hard with vigor and perseverance, I bet. Completely melts down and freaks out, I bet. I tell you, I bet. This mother's she's got a handful here. She's got 5 kids, or how many kids you got, including the husband? I've grown exhausted fighting with him to eat even an apple. I will not punish, force, or scream at him about food. Well then, if you won't discipline him about food, then don't worry about it. Let him eat what he wants. And then when he gets sick, point it out that that's from the food you're eating. You don't want to listen to me, you want to fight me on the food, you go ahead and eat it. And then when he gets sick, say, that's your food you ate. Our grandson, he's a fruitarian pretty much, but he's eating some bad stuff, and then he gets sick, and I'm going, why did you get sick? I ate wrong? Yep, and you did. That's what you have to get them. You have to get them relating to how they're feeling with what they're eating. Because if you don't, then you're not being truthful to them. Because, truth be it, your health is directly related to the fuel you burn. Just because medical doctors don't want you to know that. Your health is totally directly related to what you eat. Why would you even eat then if it didn't affect the health of your machine? Yeah. How can I get him to eat fruit if he's, I don't know. Some of these kids are stubborn as hell. Of course, I believe I'm raised with discipline in my family. We weren't whipped and beat, but we knew we could have been. My grandmother was a teacher, so she used soap in the mouth. But there were ways. And I, quite frankly, didn't want to fight with my parents over anything. I didn't feel like that. But these young souls were coming in. Some can be pretty strong. I didn't think it'd get me anywhere fighting with my parents. But there's always a way to learn discipline here. But you've got a husband that's also not on your side. So the boys look at the husband and go, why should I probably eat like mama? So all you can basically do is just give zins, all the time. Little things about, well, eat what you want then and pay the price. When you get sick, you create it. So they have to learn that they're creating their problems. So if they create their problems, sometimes it's out of your control. No matter, you can't exhaust yourself. If this little kid isn't a little kid, talk to him as he's a soul. And say, well, are you a new soul here? See if you can get that soul to come to you in your dreams, Mom, and talk to you. Or you go into meditation and conjure up your young man and talk to him from the dreams, from the meditative state, and see if you can listen to the conversation back. And see if you can get into a conversation with a higher level of that being and try to get through to him at that level. Sometimes you have to work on the inner side first before it manifests to this outside. So there's a technique that you can do by going into meditation, going to the individual and communicating with them on the inner planes, because they have a mental body like you do, they have an emotional body like you do, they have the same bodies you do that are not physical. And we're talking about how the body responds when it sees a fight or flight syndrome. And it uses you're using all your body simultaneously right now. not just the physical body. You're actually using your mental body, your emotional body, all these other bodies, all as one. Even though some of you might not be able to see your other bodies. He even refuses fresh squeezed juices. I'll be smacking that little kid crazy. No. But, you know what? I don't care. I don't take that kind of crap with my children. I don't let them rule me ever. But that's just me. He is already addicted to cooked foods. Yeah, that's sad too. You know, and cooked foods are addicting. There's no question about it. Both healthily and junk. His horrible farts are further evidence of this. Yeah. Yeah. Putrefactive farts. Yeah. See, that's a beautiful thing about raw foods. You don't stink. The 9-year-old, so you've got a what? You've got a 4-year and a 9-year-old. You waited, that's pretty good. Excuse me. The 9-year-old needs more to eat during the 5 hours between breakfast and lunch at school, and I'm afraid the fruit breakfast won't hold him over that many hours at school. Well, send him some fruit home. Send him some fruit to school. Send him some little snacks home. Write a note to the teacher. He's got malabsorption or something and he has to constantly eat. Or I would probably deworm him a little bit just to make sure that's not the problem. I'm just saying, probably wouldn't hurt to deworm your kids once in a while as yourself. You know, this is a serious thing, and I think the Monsters Within You show on Animal Planet should be enough to scare the crap out of most people. And they're not even into the big worms and stuff yet. So they're talking about microbes and stuff. But you have to realize that once you get the body digesting, absorbing, utilizing, and eliminating properly the 4 phases, the 4 processes, digestion, absorption, utilization, elimination. Once those 4 are moving and you're removing the obstructions in your body of mucus and proteins to the flow of blood, nerve, and lymph energy flows, then everything just turns around and just wakes up and turns around with that. But I would, if he's got that kind of hunger, he's either got worms or malabsorption going on, so you want to work on him in that way. And send him more fruit. But fruit, I can have fruit in the morning, and I like to have something for lunch for sure. I'm hungry by the time I get to lunch, but I'm full all morning long. I don't have the need. It's so energetic and nutritious. I don't have the need to put anything else in there. But then again, I'm pulling energy from other sources. So when you get pulling energy from other sources, you don't need to so much get it from the food you eat. You know what I mean? Okay. Socially, transitioning is a nightmare. Probably. Both kids are subject to snacks offered at school and camp, sports, birthday parties, pizzas, cakes, sugary treats from family, party dates in friends' houses. No kidding. I know it well. I raised my stepson, a younger son, on fruit till he was about 6. Then he wanted salads. And Wendy's had this, I was so poor. And I was working at the hospital, and Wendy's had this $2.99 salad bar. And so we always ate at the salad bar there for $2.99. But then he got to using the little round things you put on pizza, little round sausage things. I forget what you call them. But he got to put that all over the salads. Then he got to staying overnight at friends, and well, that went to meat then, right there, because everybody eats dead animals around planet Earth. And so that was about it for him. But at least when he gets sick, he goes right back to the fruit diet. Now he's got so many health problems, he's back now eating healthy. And it's just, that's what's going to take. But as a mother, they deserve to know the truth. Whether they can do it or not, and you just have to keep inspiring them, show them exciting things, not negative things, and showing the power of the monkey versus the power of the cat. You know, and the fact that raw foods will make them do better in school, which is factual. Make them more aware, which is factual. make them stronger, which is factual. Things like that. Or when they have problems, put them on the fruit to get them better so they can see that eating fruit cleans them out and makes them feel better. You might have a hell of a road on your hands. Making this work at home is one thing. Making it work in the world seems impossible. Well, you see how hard it is? It's tough out there, but we're the God people. We're still going to fight for this. Still bring the light out there. You have to be an example, Mom, and you are. You're the raw foodist. So Mom's the example, but you're also the example of the higher aware one. You're the highest aware being of your family, I take it. So, you brought these souls into your realm. So why? Why did you bring that soul called your husband in there? Why did you bring these souls that are occupying your children's body? Why did you bring these souls to you for? What do you have in common with these souls that are working the bodies you are dealing with? See, this is so much more powerful than just little babies and bodies. The entity using that body is a huge entity, a huge being, whatever you want to call it. It's not little Georgie. It might be a little body right now, but the being behind all these little bodies are pretty big. And you don't have to talk baby talk to them. You just talk right to that being. They can comprehend up and beyond what the baby can. But, you know what? It's up to us to change this nightmare. And it is a nightmare. And just think about me before I had you guys to talk to. I'm one guy in the darkness out here. And there's several of us out here, but not at this level. And you just have to keep turning on the light bulbs. Turning on the lights everywhere you can. One person at a time. One individual at a time. Just keep turning on the light bulbs. Helping whoever will listen and open up. And pretty soon you'll look back and you've done really well. And when you're open, the divine will bring you the souls that it needs. See, the divine puts all this together. So who you have around you needs what you have. Don't ever slip down because everyone else around you isn't doing it. You be the warrior woman. Because that's your survival. You have to take care of your survival throughout eternity. Then, if you choose to help another soul, whether it's a husband in this lifetime or children, whatever, you choose to do that. But you first want to know who you are and get your own world in order, because no one else really cares. At the bottom of the day, or the end of the day, you're the only one still standing. Your kids can flip you off and leave you. You can have all kinds of problems with your children. One good, one bad. Remember that? You can have all levels of problems. At the end of the day, there's only one individual standing, and that is you. So you get yourself healthy, and now you've entrusted to work with these three beings and anyone else that'll listen. So just kick back and relax, sweetheart. Don't take it in personally. You're fighting conditioned thinking. You're fighting the mind of these people that have been so conditioned to believe in lies. So you just eat good, make yourself healthy, feel healthy, and let them watch the miracle. And you leave little, you talk to them, and you do the very best you can. That's all I can tell you. And if we all keep doing it, we're changing the planet. Don't worry, we're changing the planet. Beyond the why, I need the how. I get it. Well, the how isn't always, I don't always have the answers for the how. I'm probably not the best parent in the world that way. I mean, I don't know. My boys turned out pretty good, but I don't know. I'm pretty strict. I was raised strict, and I'm a pretty strict parent, to be honest with you. I don't know. You don't know any actual strategies. Yeah, the only thing I know of should just be truthful to them and using little Zen techniques of, that meat will constipate you and make you stink. Come up with little one-liners and things that you can use when they start to eat these things to start brainwashing them another way. You have to re-brainwash your kids, But you keep working on it because there is no easy answers. If any of you guys have any easy answers, go to some of these websites we have and talk on them that way and see if you have any other answers. Because there's a lot of great mothers out there that I'm sure have better answers by far for you that have worked with their children. I'm sure there's a lot of good advice out there. Namaste to you, dear, my one. But I think probably get better advice from some of the ladies that have really been through a lot of this. So anybody has some good advice for that. Also, I'll be going to my school and saying my children are allergic to dairy. Can't have any dairy products whatsoever. No dairy. There are some things that are worse than others. And if your children are having dairy products, that's the top of the no-nos. And because you're just filling it full of mucus. And with these children, they're so far easier prone to tumors and cysts than ever before. So you want to be careful with that. I still say the Bush people, she's fighting chemo. I wonder if she's still alive. But, when they got that cow, as soon as they got the friggin' cow and started drinking milk, I bet you that's when she started noticing the tumor. This is Christina. Hello, what is the relationship between sodium and potassium? Brother and sister, man and wife. They one is inside the cell, one's outside the cell, basically. So potassium inside, sodium outside. Really, it's a sodium-potassium pump. It allows for better cellular permeability, the ability to move nutrition back and forth between the cell wall, having a good homeostasis of fluid balance and stuff like that. Works with that sort of thing. Does sodium increase potassium? Well, they play this game back and forth. And it's shuffled through the adrenals and the kidneys. So, you get an example. Most of you guys are in dialysis or kidney failure. You're fighting your potassiums. Your potassiums are way high because you're kidney failure. You're not metabolizing and using potassium. And then your phosphoruses go out too. This is potassium foods, chronic anxiety, sulfur, scar tissue. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's the only thing that's essential from what I understand. For cell permeability and things like that. We see those too often. Of course, the fear is when the potassium gets way high, you're going to have a heart attack and stuff. We've never seen that. One of the problems you run into with dialysis is once you get started on dialysis, if you're peeing, you tend to stop peeing. You never want to stop peeing because now it's super hard to get you back. So you really want, if you're urinating really well, I'd rethink dialysis and really go to dry fasting and stuff and getting filtration, and then getting all this fixed up, then your potassium will come into balance with your sodium and everything will be okay. But kidney and adrenal glands, right at the heart of everything, and how cells metabolize, and the permeability of a cell wall. And I'm sure Pat could tell you a whole bunch of things about it. Being an A&P professor, she pretty much teaches that all the time. Kathleen. Hi everyone, just wanted you to know that I'm on day 9 of mostly fruit juice and some fruit diet. Yeah!
Yes! Yes!
Yes! Very good. After 3 days, the pains in my body went away. Is that neat? Come on, that's neat. In 3 days, her pain in her body went away. That is so cool. We were just talking about a lad that's fighting MS real bad. And he's his own worst enemy. So he thought he really needed to have the vegetables and get away from the fruits and the vegetables. And so, okay. Loaded up on the fruits, the vegetables, went heavy into the vegetables and greens and all this. His body blew up. Oh my God, all kinds of problems. I'm going to tell you, when you get high up there on the fruit line, be careful when you come back down. Because you're way up there on nutrition and energy, I'm telling you. Isn't that cool? I'm happy. I'm telling you, I love this program. Don't you guys? I love this. This is nature. This is nature's program for us. I mean, the herbs are but for the divine. That's for tissues. You got a heart you need to work on, you got herbs to strengthen the heart. You got kidneys to work on, you got herbs to strengthen the kidney. Isn't that cool? If you got a tumor, you got herbs to even help you bust the tumor open. I mean, how cool is that? You know, we have so much anti-God people. It's amazing. The FDA, anti-God people. Medical, anti-God people. And you want to say that can't be anti-God, but let me tell you, when you get right down to it, who's the true God people? You guys are. Postal manuscript? Yeah. Well, that's just showing you're loaded. You're full of post-nasal drip that I've had for 50 years. You've had post-nasal drip for 50 years. Yeah, I mean, you're impacted, brother. But it also goes to you might have some irritating chemistry up there in the brain area or the sinus area that's constantly irritating the mucosa. There is that possibility. But you could have a lot of lymph stagnation in the brain. I've had people get buckets out of the head area, just out of the head area. So, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, you want to stop that postnasal. I mean, it's good that you have it, but at the same time, it sounds like you could go into a cold and flu pretty easy. That'd be good. You'll get these sinuses drained out, these lung and bronchi cleaned out. After 50 years, it's still draining, but not so toxic, and the constant coughing as a result of its infrequent. Oh, going back to the back of the neck, all that? Absolutely. It just shows you're full of mucus. But mucus is what the body tries to get rid of. Notice that? When you get a cold and flu-like symptom, what are you getting? It's detox. I mean, cold and flu-like symptoms is simply the natural rhythm of nature in your body to clean itself out from what you put in. That's all it is. And when you see that as some kind of disease and you got to stop it, boy, you just sentence that soul to a lifetime of hell. You're starting them down the road of moving into the chronic levels and stuff. I mean, it's just a nightmare what's out there. My chronic insomnia is much better. All right. So that does tell you have chronic transverse colon. I would do upper circumbrain and nerve. If you need to do the insomnia, get the pineal gland granular. 1 or 2 caps, 1 or 2 hours before sleep I would do for the insomnia. But to have that, my dear one, it would be rare if you didn't also have what else up there? Pituitary weakness. Yeah, it would be rare for you to have a chronic pineal and no pituitary. Be rare. I saw out of 100 eyes I've done in the last 2 months or so, I've seen one person that had a little parathyroid and no pituitary. Rare. Major strong genes in that person and everything else too. Rare. Rare, rare, rare. I'm sleeping deeper and longer. The tendinitis is gone. That is oh man, I have more energy and my mood is like a child. I'm turning 70. She's turning 70 this year. Oh man. She says I have more energy and my mood is like a child. Just how it should be, my dear. And you know what? Every day you keep doing this, honey, you'll get better and better and better and better. How is it when you get 70 years old that you can start getting better, not going downhill? Pretty cool? Pretty cool. Ought to freak out your family physician a little bit. But pretty dang cool. Thanks for your gift to all of us. You're welcome. Great testimonial. Great, 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 great. I love this. But dig in. Keep going. Because this is... You never know at 70 years old the height that you could achieve. Wow. The genetics are so weak in some of these young people. I believe the 70 and 80-year-olds can get healthier quicker than some of the young people. That's how sick it is. Great testimonial, though. And I'll tell you, when you get out of pain, that's the gig. Get yourself out of pain. Nobody wants to be in pain, and I hate to see any of you guys suffer. Suffer is not good. I hate to see myself suffer. So try not to suffer. If you do anything for pain, we're always trying to make better, higher, more faster, trying to get things done quicker for you. But when you're in the chronic levels of lymph stagnation, it's just going to take a while to break this and hydrate this loose and get your kidneys to filter and all this done. So don't freak out. Just try to hang in there, Oh, wow. This is from Jan in the UK. Oh, this is another one over here. Let's see. I think birthmarks, moles, and freckles relate to tissue weaknesses in the meridians. The meridians would be mapped out on the skin, like iridology on the iris, absolutely. Matter of fact, every little square of the skin tells a world of stories. Amazing how the body gives it up, all over itself and shows to you if you know how to look and see. But isn't that the story? Always is, how do you look and see properly? How do you look and see the divine? How do you look and see the truth about health? And darkened spots would be signs of weaknesses. Color, size, and texture of moles, freckles, and birthmarks would indicate severity of damage like lacunas. I agreed with that totally, absolutely. Is this part of another one here? Maybe it is. I don't know. In dermatology, a mole that changes in those indicators can be a warning of cancer. Well, yeah, because everything deals with the acid side of chemistry. When you start getting moles and everything growing on you, you're not metabolizing your sugars, your carbon isn't being converted, and so the body's getting more acidic. And so then you start having creatures live on you and in you. I mean, it's just a natural thing. When the body starts dying, and when you're holding, people talk about proteins, but oh my God. When you start having all these proteins building up in the body, it's a sign of death. And so you have putrefaction, you have the call of the wild, you have all this acidosis, and I don't know what to say about it. If you don't get that out and correct it, then your body is going to be victim to the parasitic world. But nothing in my opinion stays the same. Everything gets worse or better depending upon the direction you take yourself and your understanding of that. We know that changes of skin pigmentation are from melanin, and melanin has the role of protecting from heat and sunlight. When I was raw for the first time, I noticed some freckles disappearing. I know, I got a bunch of freckles and it did the same thing with me. But then again, the white people have white because of what? Migrating out of the tropics. The Homo sapien was all black at one time, right? And that National Geographic traced, at least I don't know how far back they went, but they traced the humans back to one black woman in Africa. This is a big special that they did. It's enough to say, though, our species has many colors to it, but it's also where we live, our diets, all the things that's impactful to the body, the organs, the glands, and of course the different sizes of humans on the planet is relative to the different conditions of their endocrine glands. Oh yeah, you can see the conditions and the different ethnic groups related to the different parts of the body that's weaker or stronger in that group, absolutely. But I think the same thing you do, basically, with birthmarks and all that sort of thing. It shows a sign of weakness and stuff in that area. It's kind of like sore spots in iridology. We still don't know what they are. Are they drug spot copies from the mom, or what are they? I would someday, maybe, since there's so many of us involved now, that we'll have some good research, and we can have thousands of eyes that we can really correlate and deal with. There's so many questions that iridology needs answers for, and so many questions this field could actually benefit from. But we've done very good at putting together a health modality, haven't we? Sorry about that. I've been up night and day getting these eyes done, so I haven't had much sleep in the last couple months. But it's enough to say that all these things to me indicate weaknesses and toxicities, and that when you start to get the body healthy and get rid of the toxicities, these things go away, and they do. birthmarks fade away, your scar tissue's eaten up. We got one case where they claimed the scar tissue in the neck is holding the neck up, and that if this medical doctor told, get this is one of Marcia's, she was just telling me, the medical doctor told the client that yes, she loaded with scar tissue, and yes, that an orange diet, because she's craving oranges, that an orange diet will eat up the scar tissue. I don't know of any medical doctor that knows that. Okay? So I don't know how that medical doctor knew that. Or he's just making light. But he's right on. Fruits will help the body eat up the scar tissue. But he made a claim that because of that, that's what's holding her neck in place, because she broke her neck or something like that, and that she won't be able to hold her neck straight. But what he doesn't realize is when you're at that level of regeneration, that the body's eating up scar tissue, it's also regenerating the spinal column and the muscles and tendons too. So this isn't in the scar tissue that's getting eaten up. The body's regenerating itself simultaneously. Cool stuff, isn't it? I love it. It's cool stuff. This planet needs this. This planet really needs help in understanding there are duality rules. You have deterioration, but you also have regeneration. If you're only living on one side of duality, like the acid side, well, I can see where you probably don't have any hope. But there's another side to life, the alkaline base side of life in chemistry. Also, I've been ordering the books for acupuncture school. One of the A&P came in, and I flipped to this page. It has details in a section called Lymphatic System Immunity. Interesting. The role of the skin is immunity and complex. The role of the skin in immunity is complex. Oh, really? Keratinocytes in the skin manufacture interferons, proteins that block viral. Yeah, but that's in the immune responses, though. That's not right off here. And other proteins important to the immune response. Okay. Langerhans cells in the skin. What? Langerhans cells in the skin interact with antigens, foreign substances that have penetrated the stratum. Whatever. The Langerhans cells then migrate to lymphatic organs where they present bits of the antigens to cells that will mount the immune. Oh, that's all crap. That is all crap. Boy, I can't believe that. This messenger function alerts the immune system early on to the presence of pathogens in the body. You know what one doesn't realize here is that what they call pathogens, your body lives symbiotically with bacteria all day long. I hate to tell you, but a lot of you guys have staph and strep in you all day long. A lot of you have E. coli in you all day long. A lot of you have H. pylori in you all day long. And we live very symbiotically with that. What's the real problem? Acidosis. Acidosis is the real problem. You know, the skin is the largest eliminative organ of the human body. Its protection is minor, in my opinion. It's a great sponge. But whenever you got to remember what the lymph system is designed to do, and that the lymph system is one that handles the bulk of the immunity of the human body, not the blood or the skin. The skin is just a bunch of cells. That's all the skin is. The skin doesn't do anything other than it's a bunch of cells. You have a lymph and a blood system to all these cells, and those are all supported by endocrine glands, you know, the overseers, excuse me, and then the organs. But you know, this is a typical way that allopathy looks similar to that. You know, and to talk about interleukins and viral, this is just, that's when you have an immune response to viral loads and stuff like, which are proteins. But you have a far different immune response than they even realize. What's another immune response? And I read you some scientific paper about that. It's called the calcium buffering system. Calcium. There's another, like an interleukin, there's another immune response called cholesterol. There's another immune response called edema. All these factors are immune responses, or your body's response to acidosis, not so much to pathogens. You know, what we call pathogens sometimes is our friends helping us. It's the acids that's the problem in the body. If we look at pathogens as the problem, then we're looking secondarily to the problem. It's like looking at the effect and blaming the effect, treating the effect as some type of cause to it, instead of looking beyond the effect at what could be causing that effect in chemistry and physics. You know, sometimes we're so out there in the effect that we lose totally or have any idea about the causative factors of these things. And so, you know, a lot of times we're living on the premise or living on the thoughts of the AMA, which in some cases are, I don't know where they get their thinking from. This seems to support the link between birthmarks and genetic weaknesses. In what way? It would make sense for the body to be alerted early to any weakness. Well, the body already knows all its weaknesses, honey. That's already well registered. Well registered. Matter of fact, way beyond. Matter of fact, in the parent cell already knows, and the soul already knows, we already know which soul's going into that body already. Way ahead of time, because this world is the last effect, not the first. You've got a world that's way before this one. That's your emotional world, and you got one before the emotional world, the mind. The mind knows way before anything is manifested here. You can't manifest here without first manifesting through the mental worlds and the emotional worlds. This is the last world of manifestation, my dear. But yeah, you more have to look at the Langerhans, which the Langerhans cells are the beta cells in the islets of Langerhans, but you could have Langerhans cells in the skin. I don't know about that. I've never read about them. I don't know anything about them, nor do I even put much attention to that. Your skin is just a bunch of cells, your blood and your lymph. Your lymph is the main immunity, even in the tissues of your skin. You're always looking at the lymph as your main immunity. There's some in the blood, but the blood uses the spleen and the kidneys to clean itself, particularly the spleen, to clean itself. It doesn't like to carry any of these things and deal with it. It's your lymph system that has to deal with the most of this, to be honest with you. But we teach that at level 1. We teach you the immunity of the body. We teach you about interleukins. We teach you about this a little bit, but not too much, because it just it's too confusing. This is from Jan in the UK. I hope you don't mind. I have a question about dreaming constantly. Oh, yeah? Interesting. I got to read this one. Okay. Let's see how good this gets here. So, dreaming constantly, and she has constantly in all caps. About 14 years ago, I was about 44 years old. Wow. So you're 58, right? My darling mum was suddenly taken ill. She never ever went to the doctors, but this time she was rushed to the hospital. To cut a long story short, she died during an operation. The hospital, and she had diverticulitis. She died during the hospital with the surgery with diverticulitis. Surely there has to be something a lot more than that. Ever since the day she died, I have not stopped dreaming. Not occasional dreams, but constant dreams. It's like I have the telly on all the time, even if I fall asleep for 10 minutes in the chair, or whether I am in bed. Dream, dream, dream. I did go to the wrong place to go, really, but he said it was natural. It was natural. I tried to explain that even though I was grieving, the dreams were not of my mom. They were just random, busy, noisy dreams. He did not have a clue. We both knew this, so I did not pursue the subject, but left his office. Well, he wouldn't have a clue. Not too many people would have a clue, I would think. You know, I don't know if your mom had any role in that at all, or she's sitting on you. I mean, it's possible she's sitting on you. I don't know. I would go into meditation, call up my mom, and have a personal conversation with her if she'll come to you, or find yourself a psychic that can link you with that conversation. Sometimes you have to find people that have developed their ability to look within the inner worlds and see if they can help you to work this out. I would have to talk to you and find out how it's affecting your outer consciousness versus your inner, because we are constantly in dreams. We are constantly, this whole activity you're in is a dream. The only reason dreams and things are real, like lucid dreaming and stuff, because you're becoming more part of that consciousness. And this is what happens. The more truth you're dealing with, the more awake you get, the more real things are. And at this level, the further away from God you are, so to speak, the more unreal things appear. So believe it or not, the more you shed the thing like the physical body and you shed these bodies, the more real life gets, not the less real. These bodies are the less real of God. They're the manifested finality. It's like the finite. Human bodies are finite. The infinite is infinite. The divine is infinite. So anything finite is really further away than the infinite. Appears real if your attention is here, but as soon as you move your attention, notice your attention dictates what's real for you and what's not real for you, and the degree you put your attention on something determines whether that is real or not real for you, right? If you focus in on something and you forget everything else, this object becomes very real to you. Turn your attention away from it and the object dies to you. And this is true with all of creation. Your attention is the consciousness of it all. And if you remove your attention away from it, you are hooked with cords and things, but after a while that leaves and goes away. Interesting state, because you could get to a state where everything is just a constant dream in front of you. I would think grounding would be necessary in some sort. Maybe talk to a psychic or something like that could help you maybe figure out if your mother's sitting in on you, attached to you. Maybe she died with fear or something and she attached to you. You know, we don't like to talk about things like this. Of course, some people don't. I'd love to talk about stuff like this, but there's a lot of attached beings on a lot of people out there. And it's just how beings that do not have physical bodies can enjoy the physical experiences through you that have a physical body. This is well known to all spirituality and metaphysics and things like that. So the problem is, are you awake enough to know you have a hitchhiker or not? And sometimes it's so subtle, it's even in the meditation, it's hard to tell if you have a hitchhiker. But it's possible your mother could be a hitchhiker on you. And that's why you would want to go into meditation and bring her forth, call her and bring her forth and have a communication with her. Or find somebody powerful enough to chase this off. If you have an entity attachment. If not, then maybe ground yourself for something. You know, find out which world you really want to live in for a time being, you know. That's the problem. Part of the problem of pulling back and becoming more in the now. All points of identification of materiality, of form, kind of disappear a little bit. And form is only a temporary essence where atoms come together and then the form is rechanged. Life is constantly forming and unforming. You know, it's just how pulled back you get on that. So I don't know where you are in that. But I certainly probably, if I were you and couldn't get over here, I would probably find a psychic or something. And then I would also have a little session with my mom. You might find that, you know, sometimes when we pass in scary situations, we're locked. And if you don't have a real good spiritual guide, then you hang around. And you've seen stories like that and communicators like that. So there's a lot of the hang-arounds. You'll see them. The more you can detach yourself from looking at everything so intensely, pulling back and looking more as an observer. like those paintings that have those little animals or something on all the dots, but inside there's pictures. And if you step back, if you look at it too intense, all you see is little dots. But if you kind of look back and you don't really look at the dots and you kind of see through that, you see the picture. Same thing. That's how you begin to look at subliminal advertising. I practiced that for a number of years, trying to see it. Yeah, I can see it right on these women in makeups. They have sex written all over the legs and everything else. But it's the design. Matter of fact, get one of these Playboys or Hustlers or whatever they are, and go to like a Jim Beam advertisement on a page, and take a look at the. Here's one example of an ad in one of those type of magazines, and it was almost a half a page or a full page ad for like Jim Beam. So what they had is they had a female, good-looking female, sitting on the couch with a Jim Beam, two men standing up at the fireplace giving her this "we're going to take care of you" look with two glasses of Jim Beam. Then they had a big bottle of Jim Beam and a glass of ice with Jim Beam like being poured in it. But if you looked at the ice, they were naked bodies. This artist was really good. And they pay a lot of money for these artists. This artist drew this ice, and they were just naked bodies intertwined together, but looked like ice if you just looked at it. But if you really looked at it, there were subliminal suggestions and things all through that ad. It was amazing. Amazing. Of what they do when you have an ad like that you pick up subconsciously and don't even realize what you're really looking at. It's just amazing. So that's why I say keep kicking back a little more at things, because they're brainwashing the outer consciousness. I have learned to live with this constant dreaming, but I know it is not natural. Well, it could be a higher level for you to kick back, and you might be able to develop this into quite an interesting art of consciousness, to where you're able to work in multiple areas or see multiple areas simultaneously. I mean, because remember, you're just the consciousness observing all this. Your attention is being pulled through the bodies and actively being used. But if you pull back, you realize you're just sitting there all the time. God's just sitting watching the drama. The manifestation comes out of consciousness, which is just sitting there watching the drama. And out of consciousness manifests the individual forms, the activity, the worlds, in my Father's room, the many mansions, all of that sort of thing, and all the different worlds, the different individual aspects of itself that it's created, all the different life forms that have created, not just at this level. Oh no! Oh, how many galaxies have NASA mapped out now? Millions now? How many life forms you think? And it's endless. That's just in this physical world. Oh no! That's why language. Well, you got a few languages on this planet. How many languages do you think throughout the galaxies, just in the physical world? Absolutely. It's insane. It's so massive. It's a thrill to be a part of that. I would love Dr. Morse to give his opinion on this, if he would please. Even since I found your site a couple of years ago, I have been in seventh heaven. Thanks, dear. I love seventh heaven. You must have been sent from heaven above, you think? You are a truth and wonderful edge. I love you, man. Thank you so much, sweetheart. Anyways, I digress. Is Emmy pineal gland? Yeah, you might have a pineal gland. I do suffer from vertigo. So you suffer from vertigo and tendinitis and get depressed. I am very sorry to say. Vertigo. So, candle your ears with about 3 to 4 candles per ear. Get up here with upper circuit, brain, and nerve. Get this drain and make sure your spine is straight. Neurolymphatic points go after your GI tract so this can drain. And if you have insomnia, use the pineal glandular, 1 or 2 caps, 1 or 2 hours before sleep. Get up there, because if you have a pineal, your chances of having that pituitary is right there with it. And of course, you have depression. So what gland we're going to? The parathyroid gland. Well, wait a minute. We have a pineal gland up here talking to us. Whoa, let me digress. Could I also have a pituitary that's also suppressing my little parathyroid here, or do I have a parathyroid and a pineal weakness? A pituitary weakness, excuse me. Either way, I would probably use the pituitary herbal and the parathyroid glandular and go after that a little bit, because you want to pull yourself out of depression. And that is definitely the thyroid, parathyroid. But in your case, you have to ask, is my pituitary also sitting down on them? Absolutely. I tend to stand in my own way, and I do not succeed for very long, only on any positive actions on my own behalf. I am my own worst enemy. Well, keep pulling back more and trying to become the observer instead of becoming into your play. Why don't you become the director of your play from a distance instead of being the director, the producer, the actor, the actress, and all that? Just be the director. You go over there, you do this, you do that. Talking to your own bodies. Mind, go out and get me that information. I'll be waiting here for you when you bring it back to me. And be here waiting. When the mind will bring that answer back, be awake to listen to it. It'll bring it back to you. Bring it right back in the form of what? Thought. You don't want to chase the thought. You want to observe the thought. Takes a little work, guys, but you can do it. And boy, ding! That's ninth heaven. Or as some say, the 12th heaven. Sorry for the long email. I need help to look after myself, but my brain has a mind of its own. Upper circumbrain and nerve, upper circumbrain and nerve, get into the kidneys, get into the lymph, get everything moving. I dislike myself intensely. Quit doing that. And I cannot lift my spirits. That's because you got to work on your parathyroid gland. Your parathyroid says, I need to utilize calcium better because I'm depressed. So go after that. Use moonshine yarrow, because you might have to pull back away from your bodies and into yourself. Okay? So I like you already. I think you're great. So I don't know what you're talking about. All right? I have a wonderful, loving, supporting hubby, but I do not want to keep worrying him. Please help me. Happy to. Much love and appreciate Dr. Morse, Shannon, and all your lovely team. Oh, you betcha, sweetheart. Listen, consider it done. There's our time coming out of here. I have a lot more time now. A lot more time. So I'm going to spend a lot more time this next week on these, your questions and stuff, because, there's something in the urine, a cup of urine. See that? We want stuff in our urine. We want nasty stuff coming out. What's this? Long time no talk to. I just want to submit a picture of my sediment that I found in my urine on Saturday, June 17th. Hope you're well. Love always, Terry. Yep, that's the stuff. Now look at this. This was definitely a plug somewhere in your kidneys or somewhere in your body. Take a look at that puppy. Take a look at that puppy. That's a plug or something. We get all mucus and plugged up. That's obvious. And what comes out when we detox? Mucus and plugs. Remember, any obstruction to the flow of energy creates dis-ease. So, what are your three main energy flows? Blood, nerve, and lymph. Imagine obstruction in your blood system. That's not good. Imagine obstruction in your nervous system. That's not good. How about an obstruction in your lymph system? Tumors. That's not good. So all of it's not good. Remove the obstruction to the flow of energy and hang on to your chair. Whew! What did you hear about that ride? Where was that ride? Ohio or somewhere. Where was that ride? One kid got killed, 18-year-old. A great big ride that blew up or something in one of these carnivals or one of these fairgrounds or something. Wow. All right, here's one. comment. They've got a lot of this scratched out, so I guess I'm not supposed to read too much of this. So this, the name, they've got it all scratched out, but the name they left over is Birdie. My cousin has ALS and he has a J-tube. Should he take it out? So coconut oil is actually really, really bad for you. I've never seen this custom search before, but all right. So coconut oil is actually really, really bad for you. That's one statement, I guess, on this here. There's only 2 lines on here. The first one is, my cousin has ALS and he has a J-tube. Should he take it out? I don't know what a J-tube is. Is it an NG tube, a stomach tube? I don't know. I don't know what a J-tube is. I'm not familiar, or I am, and just not coming to me. So you have to tell me more about the case. But if your cousin has ALS, how about getting rid of it? That's what I'd be wanting to know. I mean, I got to get this video. I got to get a hold of him, and he's supposed to be getting it ready for me. But I want to show you what we did with the extremely advanced ALS case. You guys will be going, wow. Very impressive. Very impressive. So, yeah. But that's where I would be going. I got ALS. I don't want that. I don't want that. What they call ALS. I don't want Lou Gehrig's. No. I don't want any of that. I don't want any neurological weakness to where I know I'm going to end up in a chair. I got to have somebody clean me and feed. No way. Coconut oil, you know what? All oils are toxic in high dosages. Period. End of story. Your body is not designed for high oils. When you look at diets, and you look at mother's milks, oils are always in the middle, with one exception. The cat family. The cat family, the oil is scooted up a little bit. The protein is scooted up a little bit. And I believe, I'd have to look at that, the carbohydrate took the rear end seat, which is interesting. That's why they sleep all the time. Carbon is your energy. So when a cat eats predominantly nitrogen, they sleep 20, 22 hours a day. They don't have energy for activity. That's the carbon chain. Those that are the fruit, the berries, and the melons, and the salad eaters, those are the more powerful animals. The animals that are omnivores, they're powerful, but not like the primates and the herbivores. Look at the stamina of a primate, the stamina of an elephant and horses and stuff like that. What we use them for. The power and strength of an animal that does not consume complete proteins. Oh. Uh-oh. Somebody better go tell them that they're not eating complete amino acids and that they're going to die. So that's where I'd be going there. I think all oils are very beneficial, even CBD oil, but minor. Because what are you doing? You're fighting pain and acidosis, so oils are going to help you, but they can create ketosis. You know, it's another form of acidosis, so you have to be real careful how you do this with the oils. You know, to give you an idea, at one time, who is it? He was using coffee enemas, the Gerson Clinic, right? But they were using 100,000 units of A and 100,000 units of beta carotene. And the FDA came down on him and said it's too high a oil, too toxic. Well, there's a point where I kind of agree with them on the oils. You got to be careful about the ingestion of essential oils or any complex oil like that. They're very concentrated areas. So, the same thing with coconut oil. I think you have to be careful with too many oils. Man seems to go crazy, even with the CBD oils. So you just have to be crazy with that, knowing that you're only using that almost as a treating mechanism, because really it's unnatural to get the oil out of things. You know, man's developed a lot of tools and equipments and stuff, presses and things, but in reality, you're a native person. You're not going to squeeze the coconut and get the oil out of it. You'll be lucky you break it open and get the milk and the good stuff out of it, if you learn how to open them up right. Oh, this is from JP. Hi again, Dr. Morse. I write this email to you 8 months after my initial email to you back in December before my 33rd birthday. 33rd. Yeah, think about it. Be young that way again. And I'm still dealing with the same symptoms, unfortunately. Oh, shoot, what's going on, man? This is 8 months later. I have been taking your herbs since 2015. I benefited from them that year, but after I fasted for 26 days last year, April 2016, my body, mental state, and health has continued to spiral downwards. After a fast? Wow. That's scary. 26-day fast. Not even the herbs can help or remedy this. I now completely regret doing that to my body. It has been so hard to heal and get back to where I was before fasting. Interesting. Well, you know what fasting does? And this is part of why I think we have a good balanced approach. I don't push too much fasting. And there's a reason. And that is, everybody is so toxic with not only the own acids from their own cells, but from chemicals trying to treat it, steroids, chemicals. I mean, we're loaded with antibiotics. We're loaded with all kinds of chemistry, plus all the toxic chemistry from the air and everything. So, brother, I tell you what, it's not the same world in detox anymore. And sometimes we're now at the very chronic and degenerative levels of things. And so when you start detoxing, especially with sulfur in the bowels and stuff, you can bring it up and then stop. And everything, because when you start, these are serious things. When you start hitting it hard with all fruit, water fasting, dry fasting, and herbs, you are literally going in places that are miles involved and hydrating and loosening everything up. Your kidneys and skin can't always handle this. And that's the problem with the lack of true filtration going into a big water fast, is when you're not filtering, you're going to bring everything up and then the blowback comes against you. And this is just what I said, the art of detoxification, and I probably should talk about it even more, is that when I just think there's a certain rhythm and movement that we've developed here that we like and that I like, and I never have these kind of problems. If I put someone that just come in here and they got a serious problem, I'm going to put them on a fruit fast before a water fast. I do not believe in water fasting nowadays right off until you get your bowels moving well, your kidneys filtering, because you're moving things around in a closed system. You want to be able to sweat during a fast. You want to have some doors open. And so this might be part of your problem, is during that fast. It was a long fast, and everything just broke up, and now you're stuck. So you're not stuck, but you got to go back now. I'd go back and do an all fruit. Try to get all up to fruits, berries, and melons again. Try to get yourself to that diet, or at least only one salad a day or something. And try to bring some homeostasis with that sort of diet. Forget about water fasting. You might dry fast 24 hours or something, of course, but any type of extending fasting, forget that. Take a look at your eyes. What are you up against? Is there sulfur in there? How chronic is your lymph system? Look at some of these things like that, because it is my opinion that during a detoxification, it is far better to get yourself opened up a little bit before we get into any deeper water fasting. There was another client of ours, there was a gentleman down in Costa Rica that was doing 43-day water fast. You got to be careful with water fast when you're at this level of toxicity and weaknesses. My opinion. It's even difficult with the fruit fasting, but at least you have chemistry to buffer and things like this where you don't have on a water fast. See, that's the other problem. You're not even bringing in alkaline chemistry in a water fast. And if you're fasting on distilled water or something, you're fasting on acid water. So I don't know where I'm at with that anymore. I really prefer to go down the road. That's how I train my practitioners here too. We don't water fast right off. We get them going. We get kidney filtration. We get hydration going. So then a water fast will have some benefit and won't lock you. And this is what happened down there. It locked him. The 43 days just locked. He had sulfur pulling all this stuff up. His body would throw up anything he ate. He couldn't eat anything. We had to go real slow with the stomach tea and everything else and just kind of slow everything down, everything back down, and get him back down before he could then take off and go again. So you just have to be careful how you do these things. So it's enough to say is I would get myself back to the fruit diet and everything and slowly go after my kidneys, my adrenals, and that sort of thing. It has been so hard to heal and get back to where I was before fasting, although it definitely helped my painful periods. Oh, this is a female. If you've got painful periods, I want you to think about your pituitary, my dear one. If you have irregular periods, I want you to think about your pituitary. And if you're short or too tall, I want you to think about your pituitary in conjunction with your thyroid, parathyroid, because painful periods can happen with the thyroid, parathyroids down as well. So you really want to look at those because you want calcium, proper calcium utilization and things like that. Plus, you want to get out of painful periods. Matter of fact, you want to get out of periods for the most part. You want to get so healthy that you only spot a little bit and have minor periods. It has unbalanced my body and mind to a point where I consider ending my life on a daily basis. Holy crap, honey. I've never seen a fast do that to anybody like that. So I don't know what happened during that fast for you. I've never heard of anything like that. But I would say this, where's your self-discipline right now, sweetheart? Get it back, get that go down. Start on the fruits and berries and milk. If you add in a salad in there, do that. If you have to, stop it all. Stop it all. I wouldn't stop the fruit for breakfast, but I would come way back and balance out. Have some chocolate. Make yourself happy again. Get yourself some moonshine yarrow. Try to get your body back in kind of a homeostasis to where you can kind of bring a balance back to the body where you're doing even, 80% raw, 20% cooked vegetables. Try that one where you're doing 80% raw, you have your fruits and your salads, but also you're doing some cooked vegetables for balance. See if you can get yourself balanced out that way. But these herbs should help you pull it out, or have one of us put you on a program. Get us a picture of your eyes and get yourself, straightened around with that. The stress has caused the painful periods to come back as well. Stress. I used to run marathons, but sometimes I can barely muster the energy to walk, where your adrenals are down. And that might be what the fast did for you too, believe it or not. It could have dumped your adrenals down, not because fasting does that, because you pulled all that inflammation out of your adrenals possible, they crashed. And you know what you might want to do is check your blood pressure in both arms. Because of fasting will pull all this out of you, particularly at the adrenal and kidney level. You could have not realized how low your adrenals are genetically, and by this water fast, you went down and touched that genetic. Remember, because I keep telling you guys you're going to touch your genetic weaknesses before it's all over, that genetic pass. Yeah, and it could be you did that and at really low blood pressure, and it just, you just got to see what really all happened. Just threw you into all kinds of low energy, depression, and everything else possible. When I push myself to run, see, that's adrenal. Here you go. Adrenal fatigue sets in, and I'm more prone to panic attacks. Again, I would do upper circumbrainston nerve. I'd work on my pituitary and parathyroid. I'd work on my adrenal and kidneys. That'll pull you out of all of this. I'd be going that way. Is she prone to panic? Your adrenals are way down. And probably they were stimulated, and you pulled all that out on the 26-day fast, because that'll pull all that out of you. Could be everything just went like that. Because it will. Remember, I tell you guys a lot of times that when you go on raw and stuff, you're getting all that protein and acid out of these tissues. Instead of being stimulated, now you go into, oh my God, I'm really tired. I need protein. I need something for energy. But I'm eating the highest energetic foods on the planet. Why don't I have energy? Because your adrenals went down to its genetic pass. Very low. So check your blood pressures. I think you're going to find an interesting thing there. I think that's where you're going to find your big problem is in your adrenals and kidneys, and why you're lymphatically working anyway. Cycling is much easier for me, but I'm still passed by unhealthy and overweight people on the bike. No kidding. It's both funny and sad, but so hard not being able to do what I love, which is running and having a... Well, work on it. You'll get there. You'll get there. I promise you. Just run. The man I fasted with, Lauren Lockman, won't even respond to any of my emails letting me know I'm suffering after fasting with him and looking for advice, encouragement to heal properly. That's because some of these people get you into these traps like that, and then, whoa. See, that's why you have to listen to the people with the most experience. So sometimes you ought to check with the clinic or the club here before you jump into some of these things. Probably be a good idea. Because there's some people out there, some young guys and gals, you guys are doing crazy things. I get it. I don't blame you in a way. But some things I want you to walk with common sense. And one of the ones is that we come, and you young people particularly, come so genetically weakened, so weakened in the adrenals and kidneys, that when you pull away from stimulating foods, you're just going to feel your body just going down to nothing. It's the stimulating foods that's keeping you going. It's sometimes the proteins that keeps you going. And when you come off of them, crash and burn. Absolutely. And that's common. We see this almost every time in our clients. There's a certain point, and this is what happened to this guy, that he had the same thing. He was just in a healing crisis. His cancer was mostly gone. Had it in 3 places, gone in 2, almost gone in another one. We had him moving. He just felt really, really tired, having a healing crisis. Checked himself in the ER, wondered why he was so chronically fatigued. Remember, I told him they saw his urine was filtering, thought he had a major infection, sent him to the ICU, and killed him within a day. Within a day! And his wife knew it. Wait, his wife told me, I got to get him out, they're going to kill him. And sure enough, they killed him. I'm telling you, it's sickening. You tell you, pharmaceuticals are not candy. It's only candy to the candy people. So, sad about that one. Didn't follow up with you and let you know. But some of these people don't know when you do this that you can get yourself in trouble that way because you're pulling everything up and you're not quite filtering yet enough or anything else. So, go back. You're not done forever here. Go back and start it out and redo it. Start with the raw again. Start moving that lymph again. Going after kidneys, adrenals, upper circ, brain. Get on a protocol that will help you. And you'll pull yourself out of it. I get people like this all the time, honey. Yeah, she's not done yet. I cannot bring myself to see a therapist counselor again. Most of them are far too expensive. You don't have to do that. Get a hold of us here at the club. That's why we're here. We're not expensive. Or I'm answering you right here. And they assume that I have eating disorders from eating fruitarian and starving myself to heal my body. Yeah. I live in fruitarian paradise down in San Diego. Oh, man. I choose to move thousands of miles away from my home and family only to find myself completely isolated, alone, and even more depressed. Well, move back. You know what? It's fun living around like-minded people, and that's why I love our classes so much, because in this last class we've had over 200 people, and we were all so like-minded that the class went, I thought, very smooth. We still talk about it over there in the ordering department stuff, how nice this class was, you know. But I want you to consider yourself, you moved there for another reason. Not only to get your own sucre, but maybe you moved there to help others. I know there's a lot of people there that are, you know, there's a lot of light bulbs probably around there, and some that think they're light bulbs, but it's enough to say that realize your individuality, sweetheart. Touch the beauty of who you are. You got a body, you're going to get it well. I'll help you get it well. That's not the, you might feel in a panic now, but don't be. That'll work itself out. You can work that out. But I think you better ask before you do things that are deep. But this also helps everybody to understand that sometimes you can't just water fast. You can't just take off and do it. You've got to understand kidney filtration and getting things filtering and moving. You know, we come from a position of stagnation, and you go on a water fast. I disagree with that. And I've said this for years. I disagree with jumping in on a water fast. First, hydrate. Get yourself on your fruits and your berries and your melons and maybe a salad. Get your kidneys filtering, and then do some serious fasting. Then you can accomplish things because your doorways are open. You're not trying to move things out in a stagnation because it's hard. You need chemistry. Water doesn't have a lot of chemistry to it. unless you're doing a mineralized water, you basically have 2 atoms of hydrogen and 1 of oxygen and whatever elements are also in it. And water is acidic initially. All right. But don't let that depress you. You know, you've got to get to the point, dear one, where you don't need anybody but yourself, because what's going to happen on your deathbed? You're getting ready to leave this planet. You're going to take your parents with you and your family with it to be with you? No. Sorry. So you want to get strong with yourself. You went through a little bit. You did okay. You didn't know any better. You went with this guy. This guy probably didn't know any better. He probably didn't know how to answer you. But I am adamantly opposed to these deeper fasts until you get at a certain level of health. That sounds a little quirky because sometimes you fast to get healthy, but there's enough herbs and raw foods to get you healthy to the point where you can fast. You don't have to fast to try to get to that point. We're too agglomerated. We're too acidic to do that. My opinion. These are my opinions. Back in the old days, we did a lot of fasting, but we also did a lot of raw foods first. And the whole thing with fasting was you went on, you know, your raw for an extended period of time, and then you went to fruits for an extended period of time, then you jumped off in the fast, you broke it with the fruits, you stayed on that for a little while, depending how long you fasted, and then you entered your vegetables again. Even when I go back to visit them, it makes me feel worse to know I could never live there again, and none of them understand my lifestyle. I have a small handful of friends out here, but they all live far away from me and are hard to depend on, so I'm basically on my own with everything. Make you a strong woman. Make you a strong woman. Plus, you're not alone. We're connected either through these YouTubes, or you can call a club and just talk to someone for the fun of it. Ironically, I have a pretty big following on social media. Well, don't cut yourself down too much, you know. You're probably a much better woman than you realize. Plus, you know, you've got to have a lot of cojones to move yourself down to a place where there's more like-minded people and diet. That takes a lot of guts. So I think you're selling yourself out short, dear one. I think it took a lot of guts to do what you did. You know? You're probably a children of the light, like a lot of us, and you needed a little sucker to be around people that have the light. Sorry. Let's see. I share healthy lifestyle tips and people messaging me with questions and comments about how amazing my life must be when they don't even see how badly I want it to be over. Well, you got to turn that around for yourself. And I would work on my parathyroid glands. Maybe you have to work on that pituitary, since you said what you said there. And do the pituitary herbal with the parathyroid glandular. At the same time, get upper circumbrachioid nerve. Get some moonshine yarrow. I am not a negative person, of someone with a victim mentality, yet here I am again still wanting to end my life. This doesn't make any sense to me. Well, your glands are down. Look at your glands are down. Your adrenals are so low. Look at that. I mean, your adrenals are crashed. Your glands are down. Well, it could be all genetics. But you're getting the information to fix them, and that's how I would go, dear one. Definitely go with the information to fix this. Start over again. Start as you're starting over. Start on your raw diet again. No more fasting for a while. Get on the herbs that help to turn on, move, and help you with this. Or have someone at least write you a protocol, dear one. And where I am at a point where I know where I came from and just want to go home. Being in my body has become so hard to bear. Well, see, the other side of this is you're feeling your consciousness. And yeah, this is a rat hole. Yeah, but it's still creation. It's still created by the divine. It is beautiful as we make it. We're as beautiful as we make it. All right? You make it as beautiful as you want to make it, or you make it as bad as you want to make it. It's all up to you. You hold the power. But with a body with weaknesses in it, it can control some of that power. You feel you lost your power to your glands. Get it back. But honestly, I don't feel like, oh man, I have the strength to continue, since I fear this may take a long time. I know I jumped into detox way too fast, and my channels are not open. You hit it right on the head. You hit it right on the head there, dear one, so go back and go slower. At any given moment, you can stop and go another way. Nobody's pushing anybody to go any direction except maybe the government and a few things like that. Spouses and mates and stuff, but grab your power back. You know what the problem is. I see it right here. You admit right here you went too fast. My channels are not opening up to release all these toxins. Thank you. That's exactly what it was. Plus you went into your genetics and adrenals, I can tell you. So you just crashed and burned a little bit. Well, turn it around. But take something, get moonshine yarrow. Moonshine yarrow, it's essential, it's a flower essence. I use it in mental health clinics, it's incredible. Get some moonshine yarrow, little quarter dropper under the tongue every so often, and then go after upper circ, brain and nerve, go after yourself, go after your body, and get it healthy. Yeah, no one knows what I'm going through because they would just tell me to go to the hospital or take, well, yeah, no one knows, yeah, unless you're one of us, you're not going to know what you're going through at all. They have no friggin' clue. And then sometimes some of us don't know either. So I've already been through all of that. It's why I'm here. I'm on 100% fruit, thank you. Sometimes veg, or I said, thank you, girl. I've taken all of your herbs. I get enough sleep. I meditate. I practice gratitude daily. I ride my bike. I have a low-stress job. I live in paradise, and I still want to end my life. Well, try some moonshine yarrow. Try some upper circumbrain and nerve. But you know what? You're probably perceiving the higher part of yourself, that the consciousness and where you came from. That's a tough calling because it's hard to stay here in the physical material world and know where you come from. It's very difficult because the beauty, the freedom, the ecstasy, the joy, I can't grab words to describe it. So yeah, but I want you to look at it differently. You're here for a reason. You know that and I know that. Search for that reason. But I'm pretty sure it's for you to become the light bearer yourself. You're going through this to wake up, to learn, and you can help others to not do the same thing. There's a lot of that out there. Some of these young guys and gals out there are pushing the limit like Juno and things like this, or Gino, whatever his name is. You're walking in some dangerous territory, brother. So you have to be real careful. Balance, stability, don't you think? Better. You know, I preached balance for a lot of years because I also went the road of unbalanced. Because I jumped right in myself. But I didn't have the level. My body responded beautifully. It's just that I couldn't stay in my body. I had so much energy, I couldn't deal with it. I was the opposite. I had so much energy, it was nuts. I had to balance out. So I can see how it can be the other way. But remember, you always go down to your genetic past in your tissues, especially the adrenal glands. So sometimes your adrenals are just crashing, and it's just the genetics. Work on them. Give them some love, give them some power, give them some glandular adrenal to wake up the cells, give them some licorice to wake them up. Because if it's low blood pressure, you might have to use some licorice root. That's the fastest way to bring them up. So some people are so low on their adrenals, they have to do a glandular, licorice root, and an adrenal herbal. I mean, we've got some really sick adrenal glands. You know what, when you write these, and I know it's tough and they're not going to do it, but the eyes would tell this lady right off what's going on with her adrenals, her nervous systems. And then we could see why she is chronic. Oh, look, your adrenal glands are chronic. Oh, look, there's that pituitary. Oh, your thyroid is down. Remember the thyroid, parathyroid. When your parathyroid's down, depression sets in, and you want to kill yourself or your babies. Remember Andrea Yates and all the postpartum depression ladies, the poor ladies that no one knows how to help them except you guys. Parathyroid and calcium, and sometimes pituitary. Excuse me, you might want to go after that. You might want to go after the moonshine yarrow for the moods and all of that, upper circuit brain and nerve, and really go after this dear one and get this done, because it sounds like you just have to restart your program. Dang got it. I tell you what, you guys did run me into a lot of hours in the night, I tell you. Oh my God, I've been up at 5 every morning. Some of you will hear it on the recorder too. And this one, I think I had someone visiting me, they were snoring on the couch. And this was early in the morning. I hope it didn't get on the recorder, but like, oh man. We got to do what we got to do to help this world. This world is suffering so bad, and people like yourselves. I don't want to see any of you guys suffering. So if I can help you in any way, I love you all, and I'm here for you. That's what I'm here for. So we work all of this out together. Don't go too fast, too hard. You know, that sometimes isn't the best way to go. Sometimes you get yourself trapped, but you're never trapped forever. Just rewind and go back out of it. If you feel depressed, get some moonshine yarrow. Focus on your parathyroid and pituitaries and get yourself happy and especially spiritually. Spend some time alone and say, you know what? I'm okay. I'm okay. I don't care how I look. I don't care how fat, how skinny. I don't care. I'm an individualized aspect of God. I'm an individual created piece of God, and I'm here to be that individual. And I'm learning why I'm the way I am and why my body is this way, and I'm going to fix it. Remember, you come in a very unconscious planet. So don't beat yourself or yourselves up. You come here with a thing pulled over, and this world also pulls the thing over you. So I'm helping you just awaken. Awaken from that. Get yourself healthy. Your body's healthy. Get yourself awake. But get yourself strong within the self. Those are the survivalists. It's not wrong to be a survivalist. Sometimes when you become part of the pack, you lose your life. You lose your happiness. You lose your joy. And now you're just a pastured animal with the rest of them. Not knowing what truth is, living in the world of fear, and being herded to the slaughterhouse where pharmaceuticals are used to try to treat your symptoms because they brainwash you in eating their foods that they've created for you. The Monsanto foods and all the foods of the world. And it's just unconsciousness, guys. But you guys are the ones becoming conscious. And so you have to work that out. It changes everything. The game has changed. You now know how to win the game. And you know now that it is truly just a game. So don't take things too seriously, or you could get ripped pretty hard. And the next minute, it's all gone. So don't take things too personally. Get your power back. Live in the now. Spend time giving love to everyone and just hanging out, enjoying the ride. But I love you guys, and thanks for watching all these crazy videos. They are crazy, you know. But take care of yourself. And if you get in trouble with something, and I might not get to read it anytime soon, you call and try to get somebody, talk to Shannon, talk to somebody that can help you, get you some advice to help pull you out of this. Because it's very important. We talk about it all the time here, about people that are going too strong, too hard. Now, some people can tolerate it. There's no question. Some people have strong genes, their lymph systems are not as bad, but others have very weak adrenals, a lot of lymph stagnation, a lot of systemic acidosis, heavy sulfurs. Different story with those. Different story. So that's what we have to learn in detox, is that medical doctors classify everybody as the same. We classify everybody as an individual. Big difference. Love you guys. Namaste, Baraka Bashad, and all the goodies.